Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael and today we're going to be making a chickpea salad. I've got different variations here of how you can serve that. I've got it on some lettuce, I've got some crackers and some celery, and I've also got a sandwich. You're not going to believe how easy this is to make, and it comes together so fast, and it is chickpeas or garbanzo beans. Stay with me and I'll show you how this is put together. So let's get started making our chickpea salad. So we're going to start with 1 can of Bush's Best Garbanzo's chickpeas, and this is a 16-ounce can. And what I've done with those is I put that into a colander and I went to the sink with it and I rinsed those and drained all of the juice out of it. And I've just got that resting over this bowl to catch any more of the moisture that might have come off of it. But those are rinsed. And the reason I did that, I just didn't know how much salt was in these. And if I add any more to it, then I might get too much in it. So I went on and rinsed these off just to kind of take the precaution out of that. And then we'll start with our other ingredients here. I've got a stalk of celery that I've cut up, and I even took some of the little leaves that was on the top of the stalk and I cut those up in there as well. The celery adds such a nice little crunch to it and it adds freshness to it, and this adds just a little bit more to the salad. And if you don't like these, you can use water chestnuts. I use water chestnuts in a lot of different things. I don't have any water chestnuts today, but I've got the celery, and so that is going to add our crunch into our salad. And then I've got some onions. Again, this is completely optional. I have cut up a red onion here and I pickled it. And if you haven't seen how I pickle my red onions, I'll leave the link in the description box below on how that is done. That is in my Greek salad recipe that I just put up. So definitely that takes the bite and the edge off the onions. So again, this is optional if you don't want onions in it, but this pickling of these onions makes the onions go a lot longer and further into the salad. So those will be added in today. And then I've got 1 egg. I've taken the yolk out of that and I just cut up the egg white and the same size little bite pieces. And then I've got 2 types of relish. I've got a sweet relish. And with these, the ones you get in the stores, there's a lot of juice in those, and I think you can see how that is. I just put these in a little colander and I just let these drain into the bowl. And that just takes a lot of that moisture out of there so that your salad doesn't get really soggy and stuff with the relish and things in there. And then I've got some dill relish that I've got there. And we cannot forget we've got mayonnaise. That's going to hold our ingredients together. So we've got some mayonnaise there. And that is all the ingredients that we've got for that today. So let's get started with our chickpeas. So we're going to take those and I'm going to put those in this bowl. And you can either do one of 2 things. You can take the back of a fork and you can press these and break these up like that. You still want a lot of the big chunks and things in there. You don't want this so fine that you're making hummus out of it. We're making chickpea salad today. So we're going to break up about 80% of that, and then the other will be bigger pieces in that. Or you can take one of these potato mashers and you can use one of those. If you use a food processor, just be careful with that because that will turn this into a really fine paste really quickly. So if you do decide to use a food processor for that, just be careful with that because you want big chunks. You don't want it soupy, and we're not making hummus today like I said earlier, so we want that into a thicker format. So you can actually take a potato masher here and we can do that and do the same concept with that. So I will work on these and I'll be back in just a minute. All right, I am back, and you can see here that I've got my chickpea mixture mashed up, and there's still some, a few pieces of the whole chickpeas in there, but for the most part, I broke up about, like I said, about 80% of it, and that's the consistency that we're going to go today. So let's go ahead and start with our other ingredients. So because this is 1 can, I'm going to use everything really sparingly, and then at the end we're going to taste it as we go because we might add a little bit more than what we've got in it. So let's go ahead and start with our sweet pickle relish that we've got here. And I'm going to take that and we're going to add just maybe a spoonful in it to get it started. I'll do a little bit more than a spoon, maybe a spoon and a half. And then we're going to take our pickle relish, and this I don't use as much, maybe just a half a spoon of that. And we'll put that in there like that. And then we're going to take our onions, and like I said, we're going to use these sparingly because I don't want this to be overbearing with onions. So I'm going to start out with about that much, and we'll put that into our mixture as well. And then with our celery, we're just going to kind of just pinch off a few pinches of that. And then we're going to add our egg into our mixture as well. You can see this is coming together really quickly. This is an easy meal for lunch, and I'm going to give this a good mix together, and we're going to take a look at it and see. I can tell by looking at it that I want just a little bit more of that sweet pickle relish in there, so I'm going to add just a little bit more of that sweet pickle relish. And then I'm going to take our jalapenos and I'm going to put those in there. Again, this is optional. I just thought I would try a little bit of heat today in mine. So we're going to add that into it and give that a good mix through. As you can see here, we have a good consistency of everything. It is not a fine paste. We have a good consistency. So when we put our mayonnaise in there, this will really pull together. So, all righty. Now, let's go with some mayonnaise, and we're going to put some mayonnaise in there. We'll start up with 1, 2, because you can always add more, but you can't take it out. So let's put in 2, see where that goes. And I want just a little bit more in there than that, so I'm going to put another spoonful in. And give that a good mix around. That looks really good. I've got a nice consistency. As you can see, it's held together really well. So now I'm going to give it a taste, and we're going to see how much of my seasoning we're going to put in. So I'm going to grab a clean spoon, and I'm going to give this a little taste and see what we're going to add to it. That's really good on its own. But I'm going to put just a little bit of my house seasoning there, just a sprinkle. I'm not going to put a lot. And we'll give that a good mix around. And I'm going to take another clean utensil, like I already got a fork, and let's try that and see if we need to add any salt and pepper. Maybe just a little bit of salt. Again, this will just use your finger just a little bit. And we'll put that in. So I put 3 pinches of salt in there. All right, let's give this one more taste test, and I think we're going to be right where we want it to be. That is really good. All righty, that is basically how fast they went together. You can see if you've got everything prepped, you can put this together really quickly. You can use as many cans of the chickpeas that you like if you're feeding, for a larger family. This would probably feed 1 to 2 people. And that you can definitely put it in the refrigerator and keep it for a couple of days once you make it. So if you want to make a bigger batch, and then you've got it for lunch or whenever you'd like to have it. So stick with me, and I'm going to show you some alternatives of how we can serve this up. And I'll be right back. I am back, and I've got different variations of how we can serve our chickpea salad today. And so let's take a look at some of these options that we've got here. It's just innumerable what you can do with it. So you can make a sandwich out of it, and I've got just a little bit of lettuce and tomato here on this toasted piece of bread, which is really good for that way. I've got some in a ramekin here that I've got with some crackers. You can put that on a platter and serve that at a party, or just eat it just like that, right onto the crackers. I've got some celery here that I've taken, and you can take the chickpea salad, and in the hollow part of it, you can put that in there and make nice little appetizers for parties. And if you're trying to cut back on some of your breads and things, you can definitely have a open leaf sandwich. You can do that. Put a little bit of chickpea salad in the lettuce and just eat it that way. So there's all kind of ways you can serve this up, and it's just limitless what it is, and it is really good. So I'm going to try one of these little crackers here, and we're going to give this a test. That is so good. I love it on these crackers, and it's just really good on all of it. There's not a bad way to serve this. So I hope you've enjoyed this recipe and inspired you to open up a can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. And you can always use the dry ones and cook them that way too. It's however you want to do it. It's all experimental and different things you can put in it. And you saw what I put in mine today. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below what you did with your salad if you made it. And if you like this recipe, maybe you might want to check out one of these other two over here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now. Too good.